So, how good or bad was it? Well, I was not a big fan of Hereditary, so I expected to come in kind of hostile to Midsommar. And I should note, I've seen the extended edition and the normal edition. The extended edition does explain a few more things, but I don't think it's super critical. But I will be doing a lot on this soon enough. So, what is Midsommar? Well, essentially, it's the story of family trauma, how we follow this young girl who is caught up in this very troubled relationship with her boyfriend. And in the middle of this, the boyfriend, who is doing an anthropology project, goes off to Europe and they meet up with this very strange kind of cultish community. And things proceed to get stranger and more horrific as time passes by. There's a lot of cleverness here in terms of production design, camera movement, lighting, and knowing that there were a lot of production problems. This is really impressive. It features, of course, trademark Ari Aster black comedy and him kind of mocking both sides. So he mocks these college kids for being extremely naive, being these relativists who think, well, it's their culture, we really can't judge them. And although we see them being shocked, they sort of adjust themselves to the sheer craziness that they're seeing. And while some people have sort of praised this as a kind of feminist film, I don't think that's his intention. I think he's showing the opposite, how any kind of system like this, where people are sort of indoctrinated, is a bad system and we should fight it. But he's not being explicit, so there's a lot of subtext here. So you can just get into the pure horror references. There is clearly a lot of Wicker Man here. I'm a big fan of the Wicker Man. This doesn't match it, so it's not as great as that one. But I did think this was a better version than Hereditary, which also basically ripped off Roman Polanski. So it's a lot better than Hereditary. I can't call this a good film, but it's right on the edge. It's a very intriguing film. Problem is, it is too derivative. If you've seen this kind of thing before, you'll be like, okay, this was really well done. It is good, but we've kind of been here before. You'll also be asking questions about how could the cult be so successful? How were they not caught? Why are these kids so stupid? Because they do take stupid pills at certain points. But overall, I was very impressed. Parts of it are very, very funny. This is a very dark film, but I think overall it does have kind of optimistic message about breaking free of these cults. And overall, it is believable. I've done a lot of research on cults, and they do operate like this, basically just making stuff up, having these weird pseudo rituals and traditions, and people buying it and then preying on the naivete of people with a lot of emotional and personal problems. There's even a very sly kind of message against racism and fascism that's embedded into the narrative. So overall, I found the politics and the aesthetics very powerful. Again, I can't call this a good film, but it does get a very high rating. I give this a 6.25. It's kind of on the knife's edge. If you don't like Ari Aster at all, this isn't for you. But if you're willing to give him a second chance, I think you'll be very surprised and delighted about what he's going to do with Midsommar. And it goes in places you do not expect. Some of the twists I saw coming, but some of the other twists I was like really shocked. It is a very jarring experience. It's not genuinely horrifying. It's really hard to place this. It's not really a thriller either. It's a kind of horror of psychology and of people wanting to believe the most incredible lies and not questioning what's around them. So some few doubts about this, and I will do more work on it, but it's definitely worth everyone's time and attention. Is it a great classic? No. Is it terrible? No. But it does go down very familiar places. I'd also recommend M. Night's The Village, which I think did overall a much superior job. But still, this is a very respectable kind of addition to The Wicker Man and The Village, and definitely worth seeking out. Ari Aster's second film. Thank you for listening.